Hey there, ladies and gents. It is your favorite Asian robot, hopefully your favorite DarkTide partner, and I'm here today to talk about the open letter that we all received. So, for those of you that may not have seen it, or may not have been interested, or may not have known, this was an open letter to players that you can view on Twitter, and I think several other places, but Twitter is where I go to for most of my stuff. And anyway, they sent this letter which says, "Open letter to our players. We take enormous pride in our ability at Fatshark to deliver a game that millions can enjoy. This was what we set out to do with Warhammer 40,000 DarkTide, to create a highly engaging and stable game with a level of depth that keeps you playing for weeks and not hours. We fell short of meeting those expectations. Over the next few months, our sole focus is to address the feedback that many of you have. In particular, we will focus on delivering a complete crafting system, a more rewarding progression loop, and continue to work on game stability and performance optimization. This also means that we will delay our seasonal content rollout and the Xbox Series launch. We will also suspend the upcoming releases of premium cosmetics. We just couldn't continue down this path knowing that we have not addressed many feedback areas in the game today. Thank you for playing and providing feedback. We really appreciate it. It has and will continue to shape the game that we love. Martin Walland, CEO and co-founder of Fatshark." Okay, so this was the open letter that they sent to us today. There are both positive and negative interpretations of this. I personally am not too happy with the fact that the Xbox launch has been continuously delayed, because a lot of my fans, a lot of people that view my content are on Xbox. A lot of people that have actually supported my content and have kept the channel running are on Xbox. Not exactly great to be leaving them out to dry, but you know, if that's the direction they've chosen, okay. Hopefully it leads to better content. The thing is it too late? That's the question that is on everybody's mind. If we take a look right now at the Steam page for DarkTide, you'll notice that the recent reviews have been, well, mostly negative. Let's take a look at that. The recent reviews, about 8,453, have been mostly negative. All right, and I think, let me just check the actual figure. Yeah, 34% of the 8,453 user reviews in the last 30 days are positive. So, yeah, that's 66% that is negative. 2/3, not really a great figure there. But why? Let's delve into the reasons for why. Okay, but before we do that, okay, let me just state that as a DarkTide partner, I am 378 hours into this game. I've played about 378 hours, but a lot of the negative reviewers have over 100 hours. You can actually just scroll down on the Steam page if you want to and take a look at all of them. Several of them come from, honestly, in my opinion, very reliable sources. Some of these guys have 200, 300 hours, and their reviews are great. I had to cherry pick some that, you know, well, sorry, cherry pick's not the right word, but I had to pick and choose ones that were basically easy enough to screenshot, so I could sort of zoom them in and go through them with you. But the ones that I've chosen actually echo a lot of the sentiments that I personally have had about DarkTide. Now, I've been called a DarkTide shill. I really don't care what those people think. I've been called all sorts of names on the sun for liking certain things about DarkTide, but I've also not failed to call out certain systems that are broken. And of course, a lot of the exploit reports do come from me and people within my community. All right, so let's talk about these reviews and what people have to say about DarkTide right now. Currently, all right, this dude called Beach Walrus wrote this review. He's only got 38.4 hours, but he wrote things that make a lot of sense to me. Things that are good right now. Core fighting mechanics are the only thing keeping this game playable. I agree, the gameplay is absolutely fun. I love it. I love the gameplay. All right, and I'm sure many of you agree with that. Many of you also love the gameplay. Okay, but things that are not good. Level design is insipid and repetitive. Reused assets everywhere. AI director allows 10 enemies to come out of a door together or appear out of thin air from behind you. Level objectives are always the same, and most missions are generally fixing something like a cogitator over and over again, which is not fun at all. Small amount of variations in enemies, Vermintide had way more interesting enemies, Skaven plus Chaos, in the sense of how you combated them. Lack of class variation down to shared weapons and lackluster abilities. Lack of cosmetic choices by default. This is a paid game. I would expect there to be way more cosmetic items to pick from, and no paid shop at least until a year in. Even indie games have more customization than this, which is a AAA game. Performance is still lacking for the most part. No endgame, there's nothing to work for. I don't see any point in playing this unless it's for a casual hit things with friends. No tangible storyline. You know, I just don't get what they're going for here. It's a big mess in its current state. I don't disagree with a lot of the points raised here. Lack of class variation. Apparently at launch, Vermintide 2 had 15 in total subclasses. That's a lot. You gotta understand, that is way, way, way more than we have. And if you're wondering what's ghosting in and out of reality, it's just this chair, because I'm using software to, you know, sort of pretend that I have a green screen, because, you know, poor and sitting on a patio chair, but whatever. So it's not a ghost you're seeing, it's just my patio chair. Anyway, the level design being insipid and repetitive, I don't fully agree. I kind of like the way the levels look. Why? Because I'm a huge fan of Grimdark. I absolutely love Grimdark. Grimdark is awesome. But I can see why people would find the level design repetitive. That has been something that viewers have often said to me. It is a point that I've personally defended because, look, 40k is supposed to look like this. This is what 40k looks like. We're not exactly fighting in the jungles of Katakan here, okay? Fighting in Hive City. But what I do agree with is that, quite frankly, we do need more objectives. I hate fixing cogitators constantly, and if that's my only objective, that really sucks. We need more take and hold objectives, you know, wait for reinforcements, maybe give us some turrets to shoot enemies down with, you know, something like that. Maybe we have to go area to area, evac, move, you know, across the map. I don't know, something. There needs to be more variation. I agree with that. And the lack of cosmetic choices. I am not somebody who shies away from spending on drip. I always do. But I do have to agree that several players actually have made some good points. And I think the next review also pretty much echoes this. They decided that it doesn't need the promo outfits. This is coming from a person with 384.3 hours on record. All right. The thing with paid games is that, honestly, you should already have some cosmetics in the game, not just earned through penances. And they shouldn't just be recolors of what we get from the penances. There should be some pretty cool cosmetics available for free. And on top of that, you can sell more. But I personally feel that it's very true that they have kind of screwed the pooch on this one. They really do need to have more cosmetic outfits in there. Let's take a look at this review in detail and maybe we can understand a bit more. This person says, they deemed a fully operational cash shop which works like a charm and updates without any issues a necessity. Here's a list of things they thought were needed. Now, I'm gonna say that I don't fully agree with the whole list, but a lot of it is true. It doesn't need mission select. It doesn't need a campaign. It doesn't need a story when they hired a 40k writer. It doesn't need weapons they've shown in gameplay trailers. It doesn't need the 70 plus weapons promised. It doesn't need a 5th class like Vermintide on launch. It doesn't need 2nd and 3rd careers like Vermintide on launch. It doesn't need crafting like Vermintide on launch. It doesn't need the promo outfits. It doesn't need enemies shown in trailers. It doesn't need to run at 30 FPS even on 30 series cards. It doesn't need to run at greater than 30 FPS. I can run it at 120 FPS and I'm on a 3080, so I think that that's mostly to do with other settings, but that point I don't agree on. It doesn't need their PR to post outside of their Discord. It doesn't need to be finished on launch. I actually kind of agree. They really should invest a lot more in creators so that we can help them out here. It doesn't need basic mob patrols. It doesn't need better spawning. It doesn't need a scoreboard. It doesn't need penances not to require griefing your entire team. I kind of agree on that. Penances should be really easily achievable. Yeah, sure, there's like, you can make a couple of them hard, but they should be achievable by yourself. Okay? It should never require anything related to a team. That's my personal take on things like this. Achievements are a personal thing, never a team thing. Okay? It doesn't need shared inventory with all characters. It doesn't need shared set of weeklies for all characters. It doesn't need unified currency. It doesn't need crossplay with Game Pass users. I agree on this. We really do need crossplay, especially in this day and age. You need crossplay. Okay, this is my personal take on that. It doesn't need launch stabilization. It doesn't need an option to disable RTX. It doesn't need to prioritize core features over a virtual store. It doesn't need options to unlock store cosmetics with in-game earn currency. It doesn't need to fix crashes of the game before crashes of the store. It doesn't need a positive score review. Yeah, well, the tone of this is harsh, but what I will also say is that, quite frankly, I agree with a lot of that. Mission select, a proper storyline, these are things that people have come to me and said, why doesn't this game have this? And honestly, the cutscenes and the whole storyline is lackluster. The opening was great. I'm a reject, okay? I've been given a chance of redemption, but the storyline after that was non-existent. It was just do these missions, get to these levels, here's a little bit of story in between, and the traitor just suddenly comes in halfway. Like that, it just doesn't tie together really well. Vermintide 2 had a great story. Maybe not the greatest, but a good one nonetheless. This kind of needs the same thing. So I hope that they take that on board. It really does need a story. Okay, and last but not least, this review by Furious Fool, with 189 hours on record, they said, core gameplay is amazingly fun and addictive. Everything else, not so much. How can a game be released with so much UX lacking? Story, if you can call it that, is non-existent. Again, story is one of the key points. Half of the options of crafting are not implemented yet. All right, item progression is time-gated, and most of the cool cosmetics are locked behind a real money shop. Did I pay full price for a freemium monetization model that most mobile gacha games use? What sort of sick joke is this? The flood of negative reviews are from people like me who want to love this game, but the design choices by the dev team is making it increasingly harder to do so. The only saving grace for this game is the banging soundtrack, disposal unit, and the actual core gameplay. Prospective buyers who read this review don't bother picking the game at its current state unless you get 50% discounted. Do I agree with that whole review? Yes and no. Many creators actually paid for their copy of the game and the Imperial Edition. So we're with you there. We're with you there. But what I will say is that I do agree that the freemium monetization model, that's mostly for games like Overwatch. And while DarkTide skins are cheaper, I don't want to have to keep paying out of pocket for cool skins. Some of those skins in the cash shop should be free. This is because you are literally paying for a game. If it is a paid game, Overwatch, when it released, had dozens upon dozens of cool skins that you could earn for free during those years that they had. This game needs the same thing. If this game is going to keep going down this road, we need some way of earning the premium currency. We need a method of earning Aquilas. That's what I'm going to say. All right. And now that I've finished talking about all this, I want to hear your thoughts. What are your thoughts on this? Do you agree with all these reviews? Do you agree with the direction that they're taking? My personal thoughts is that I have looked at the open letter. I'm very happy that they're trying to take player feedback into account, but you know, I want to see the action. I don't just want to hear the words. I want to see the action. And I want to see more communication as well. That's what I want to see. But what do you want to see? All right. You've heard everything I have to say about this. All right. Now it's your turn. Tell me in the comments what you think about this. And if you like this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'm sorry for the darkness again. I actually do not want to blind anybody. The main reason for this, if I turn on the lights, it kind of looks like the pearly gates of heaven are behind me. Not exactly the best situation, but hopefully you didn't mind me sitting in the dark on my little ghostly patio chair. Okay, thank you very much for watching this video, and I will see you on the next one. Okay, y'all stay happy now, and don't forget to tell me what you think.